Hey everyone, in this video we're going to cover piriformis syndrome, the diagnosis, as well as a couple stretches that you can do to generally make the piriformis spasms start to die down. My name is Sebastian and this is Mandy.
Hi.
We're part of the locally world famous chiropractors in Costa Mesa, California. Now, Mandy's going to show on her, she's had piriformis syndrome before, so share us your experience.
Yeah, so when I had it, felt like almost like the middle of the butt cheek, kind of closer to my back dimple, and then all the way down to the top of my hamstring below my sit bone. And it was pretty achy. Every now and again it would shoot lower down into like the mid hamstring or so, but mostly it was in this middle butt cheek region.
Yeah, some people feel it down into the hamstring and even down into the calf as well. And so at the very end I'm going to cover a little bit about the mechanics of why that happens, because quite honestly a lot of times this is misdiagnosed as piriformis syndrome when it's actually something else. And we're going to use that model as well as these demonstrations to show you at the very end. So let's first start with the stretch though. Go ahead and line your back, Mandy. Okay, so go ahead and spin a little bit more around here so everyone can see you here. All right, so go ahead and bring this knee up towards your chest. There you go. And then you can still take that foot across your body as some people do. But now we're going to use the hand to pull across into your opposite shoulder and then pause there and breathe into your belt line here. Now the difference between doing this and maybe some of the stretches you've already seen before on YouTube is that the attentiveness that we're doing to keeping the back on the ground, okay? So Mandy's not forcefully pushing her back onto the ground, but she's breathing into the floor to keep the spine stable. Can you show a bad way of doing it, Mandy? There you go, she's just twisting her spine up. How does that feel for you?
This feels like a weird back pretzel stretch. It's not pleasant.
A back pretzel stretch? I mean, some people like pretzels, you know?
Fair enough.
Okay, you must be, are you gluten-free?
Anti-pretzel.
Okay, so she's just gonna breathe into the floor here, and that's gonna emphasize the stretch a little bit better, and then pulling across and breathing through. It usually helps out to relax the piriformis a little bit, but the key is to keep the back flat. How long would you probably hold this?
I'd hold it for about 20-30 seconds and then take a little bit of a break and then get back into it. No more than 2 minutes at a time total.
Yeah, and it's okay to do both sides and trade off and so on. All right, so this is the first option. This is the ground one. This is the one that most people will probably use. Now there's another variation which is like a pigeon stretch, but not really a pigeon stretch. So we're going to do a fine tweak on it to make sure that you don't aggravate other things when you're doing it. So Mandy, you want to show that one for us?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to use our involved side forward. So the hip that's not happy, that leg is going to be forward here. If this irritates your knee, you can play with the angle, but let's have it in front of you about 90 degrees here. And then we're going to go down onto our forearms here. Key here, we're going to keep chest up, back straight. So you should feel big stretch in that butt cheek region. And we'll show it again from the side here.
Yeah, if you note from the side, there is a little bit of round in her back. There's not a lot. But you're being pretty good about pushing the floor away from you.
Yes.
To show me the logo of your shirt, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Also, some people can't tolerate this full hip forward range, so she may slide her hip away from my hand. There you go. And then this allows her spine to stay a little bit flatter too through the exercise. It's just based upon anatomical variation for her.
Mm-hmm. Other option you can do with this, if that stretch feels even better when sliding your knee back, you can walk your forearms away from that knee just a little bit, and same thing, press the floor away.
Yeah. How long would you hold this one?
Same thing. Don't want to do more than 2 minutes total, but you can break it up into 20-30 seconds and then a couple seconds break in between. Okay,
got it. So when you guys are doing those stretches, ideally they're to release tension of the piriformis muscle, because the piriformis gets tight for a lot of different reasons, and I'm sure that you guys have probably researched why the heck is this muscle getting so tight in the first place. There's typically a reason for it, and I'll show you on this model here. So it's comforting to stretch the muscle, but it doesn't always resolve the problem, but it does make it more comfortable. So Mandy, do you actually want to hold this spine model for me? And we'll scooch up to the camera just a tad so everyone can see. We won't take too long on this, but this is an important part, so I'd stay around for it. And so the piriformis, it attaches to the front side of the sacrum, which is this, is it blue or purple?
Blue.
Okay, blue, this blue thing right here. And it goes through and it attaches to the femur, which isn't really attached here. but it kind of crosses into this path, and we'll spin this guy a little bit. So there's one on one side, there's one on the other side. It's a deep rotator of the hip, a rotator cuff of the hip, if you will, and it gets tight, especially when things like the glute muscle doesn't work or there's poor core support and so on. But here's the kicker. Actually, I didn't realize I picked this thing is actually okay. And so this is the sciatic nerve. It's pink, all right? And it goes through the piriformis here. God, this is a, hold that, Mandy. Hold that one spot, right? Hold that, yeah, right there. There we go. Okay, so this blue thing right here, the sciatic nerve goes through the piriformis muscle on some people and underneath it on other ones too. And so if this muscle is tight, it'll pinch off the sciatic nerve and it'll create electrical impulses and sensations, electricity, and so on down into the leg. And so the problem is this gets tight most of the time because some type of poor spinal support or some poor hip support. And so stretching the muscle is important, but it's not the only thing, right?
Yeah, absolutely. If your other muscles aren't working enough to take on the load of whatever activity you're doing, say you're running or hiking or biking, and the other muscles like your core or other leg muscles aren't working well enough, that muscle is going to take all the load and it's going to get stiff and tight and potentially pinch down on that nerve. Yeah,
if you guys want to learn more about this, we have a webinar. It's going to pop up in the corner as well. We cover different types of back and hip pain in that webinar, and it covers stuff like piriformis syndrome too. And so if you guys want any help, you can reach out to us. We have virtual and in-person services, but we're in Costa Mesa, California. If you're around, yeah, I think people come here for vacation.
Yeah.
Disneyland is pretty close.
Very close.
So subscribe to the channel, like the video. We'll see you next time.